Chapter 601, Domain. In that world, Rhea replied, one of the few geniuses who had formed Domain as a magic warriors before reaching rank 7. It's Samuel. Samuel was too famous. While Rhea was basically non-existent in that world, Samuel was basically busy making his name everywhere like a peacock spreading his tail. There were many people who knew about Samuel and the few other people around him. And if I'm not wrong, Peter too. Along with that genius from, I forgot his name, Rhea muttered in a low voice. Samuel chuckled. I didn't know that you like gossip so much, but yes, in that generation, there are 3 people who managed to create their domain before reaching rank 7, including me, Peter, and Naylan. A magic warrior, a pure warrior, and a guardian warrior. Rhea blinked her eyes and then said, Can you open your domain now? Now? I can, but it's a bit too demanding. I have only reached rank 6 not long ago, and the aura in my body is still too weak. Samuel replied with some regret in his tone. He knew very well that his own body has limitation, and he had to reach the middle of rank 6 to ease the burden of his body if he wanted to open the domain. And within this domain, he's basically invincible. Recovering his strength from that world to this world, Samuel knew very well that it was very difficult. Without enough resources, it would take him a long time to retrain his body. And the problem is, they didn't have that time. With more and more magic beasts coming out, including the rank 7 magic beast, they knew that sooner or later, they would probably face a group of magic beasts that they couldn't face on their own. At that time, who could guarantee that they could definitely survive? So they had to fight hard while enjoying their own lives. But at the same time, Samuel and Rhea made the decision to enter the crack on their own. Half of it was to fight for their own future, and the other half was because of responsibility. Because they knew very well what awaited the world if they didn't make this move. Perhaps destruction. Is it possible for them to stop these magic beasts from coming out? The answer is definitely no. If there were more powerful magic beasts in the crack, then neither Rhea or Samuel would have the confidence to defeat them. But with the assistance of the teleportation formation, the 2 of them dared to enter the crack. Because they were confident that they would not die so easily, so they dared to take the risk and left on their own. If it was others, they might not dare to make such a decision. But if they were asked whether they have such great responsibility or anything like that, the 2 of them would definitely answer no. They were not soldiers who have great sense of compassion and responsibility to protect the people and the country. What they wanted to protect was simply the people around them. So if there was ever a conflict between them, they would not hesitate to choose the people around them. This is their selfishness. Of course, neither of the 2 would speak about this out loud, and the government also didn't dare to test them. There were some things that couldn't stand up to the test, and it would be better not to let such conflicted questions appear in front of them. With the power in their hands, who knew what they would do once their bottom line was touched and those questions appeared in front of them? No one could guarantee that they would not be swayed and did some irreparable things. I see. Rhea nodded, not too surprised by Samuel's answer. Samuel arched his eyebrows and poked Rhea's forehead. Why did you suddenly ask me about this? This can be considered to be my trump card. Trump card? Rhea thought about the competition that Samuel participated in when they were in that world, and her expression turned a bit strange. If she was not wrong, Samuel had already shown his domain in public, right? Even though the domain was not something that everyone could learn, but all returnees should be able to guess that Samuel would be able to create domain again in this world. No one would be willing to stay close to Samuel. Just look at that Murin. He used his magic beast to stay far away from Samuel and Rhea all the time. It was as if he knew that if he were to get close to them, he might not be able to escape alive. I think that it can't be categorized as a trump card, Rhea said quietly. Samuel was silent and sighed. The returnees will not speak nonsense to others so easily. Even that Murin would not dare to speak about this matter. Because if people were to know about the existence of domain, there would be a large number of people who would want to become a warrior and magic warrior. The concept of domain was really cool, and the oppressive feeling that they could give to others was something that many people would like. But at the same time, it was also something that required high talent. Without enough talent, there was simply no possibility of them to learn about domain. I know, But there's no guarantee. Ria glanced at Samuel and slowly said, even though we all seem as if we have tacit understanding not to expose other people unless asked, but there might be other returnees on the other side of the green planet. The other side of the green planet? When talking about this, Samuel's expression turned solemn. He knew very well what Ria meant and the fact that there might be other returnees out there whom he didn't know. Thinking about this, Samuel felt faint headache. Chapter 602, Safe Route. Do you want to look for them? Samuel asked while he was still busy cleaning up the magic beasts that suddenly came over. These magic beasts were not very strong and it was easy to deal with them. No. Ria shook her head. Even if she knew that there might be other returnees out there, why should she go on her own to look for them? She was not so lazy that she would be willing to waste her time to look for other returnees. Besides, does she really need them? The knowledge that every returnees have in their hands would be different, but at the same time, there would be many overlaps too. It was not necessary for her to look for those people. Swish! Bang! We're here. Ria saw the large crack on the ground and glanced at Samuel. I know. I'll clean up the magic beasts around the area, Samuel replied without hesitation. The construction of a formation required an open space and at least, these magic beasts were not allowed to disturb Ria in the slightest bit. It would not be so easy for Ria to make the formation by herself. Thinking about how she had worked so hard to suppress the magic beast's tide before, Samuel's expression worsened and his movement became even faster. He didn't like the feeling of having to wait for Ria on the back without being able to do anything. Even though many people were being protected and he himself also has his own tasks to do, he still didn't like it. He would worry whether Ria was doing her tasks well or not. And now that they were here in this place, Samuel just wanted to kill these magic beasts. Swish! Slash! Slash! Ria didn't notice Samuel's emotion as she was busy to arrange the formation. She was using the blood of rank 5 magic beasts and quickly set up the formation. It didn't even take 20 seconds and everything was done. This time, she didn't purposely hasten her speed or anything like that, but even her normal speed has always been very fast. The only problem was that the size was big, so Ria was running around the crack while making the formation. Since her physical strength had increased thanks to the formation, she managed to circle the large crack in such a short period of time. All right, it's done. Ria looked at the large number of magic beasts' corpses that Samuel had killed and fell into silence. Was Samuel so excited about the mission? She had never seen him so enthusiastic about killing magic beasts before. But there was a large pile of magic beasts in front of Samuel. All died after being chopped off for so many times. This made Ria wondered whether there was anything wrong. Good. Samuel nodded and then packed the magic beasts' corpses into a space storage scroll and tossed it to Ria. Ria caught the space storage scroll and arched her eyebrows. I thought that you will treasure these things more. The last batch of the magic beasts' corpses had already given me a lot of these, Samuel replied. Besides, I don't think that you will lose money. He might be a businessman, but when he was talking in front of people he cared for, he would never let them suffer any loss. His family members all knew his temperament and his friends were also aware of it. They just treated each other well and helped when it was necessary. Ria looked at Samuel helplessly. You know that these didn't worth much either for you or for me. She might be collecting the magic beasts' corpses for her own reasons. But it was clear that this was not a mission that Ria prioritized. Samuel has been with Ria for a long time and it was impossible for him not to notice such a thing. She only collected these things on the way because she needed it. But the priority was not high. Yes, but it's useful. And the rest can be used by the bases to feed the people, Samuel said calmly. The rest are the magic beasts that can't be eaten. Could be said that he was lucky that Ria was not picky. Otherwise, there would be a large amount of magic beasts' corpses littering the ground. I know that. They're basically treating me as recycling center, Ria complained. She knew what the higher-ups and the government were thinking, but she allowed it to develop. Mainly because she didn't know how to explain to them about what she did with the magic beasts' corpses. The method to turn them back into mana was a bit, well, it was not achievable in normal means. Even the other returnees wouldn't be able to think about it. So Rhea chose not to expose this matter. Anyway, let's enter the crack. Samuel looked at the formation that Rhea had erected and asked, "Can we still enter the crack when you have set up this formation?" If he was not wrong, the protective mechanism of the formation would prevent people from getting close to the formation, right? Can they enter the formation and then enter the crack? Don't worry. There wouldn't be any problem to enter the crack, Rhea replied calmly. You just have to follow me exactly so that you won't die. There were safe routes within the formation. As long as Samuel followed Rhea, then she would not let him die. And as long as Samuel followed her even once, then he would definitely be able to do it again in the future. Okay, Samuel agreed readily. The two of them walked into the formation with Samuel following closely behind Rhea, making sure that his steps were the same as hers. He looked at the scene in front of him that didn't change from the beginning until the end and frowned. Rhea, does this safe route applicable to all similar formation that you set up on the crack? Chapter 603. Calculate. Rhea arched her eyebrows. She could guess what Samuel was thinking. Unfortunately, no, it's not, Rhea replied. The size of the crack is different, so the size of the formation that I make will also be different. It's impossible for the safe route to be exactly the same because there will be some deviation when compared with the size of the formation and so on. Size of the formation? Samuel looked at the crack in front of him blankly. Sorry, he wouldn't be able to understand it, then. Rhea chuckled. If you want to, I can teach you how to calculate it, but you better have good foundation in maths. Otherwise, you might want to vomit because of how complicated it is. I have good result in economy and management. There are some maths there, but I don't know how complicated the maths for formation calculation is, Samuel replied slowly. Economy and management? This time, it was Rhea who had a blank look on her face. Her course in the university back then was far away from these two topics. After all, she dabbled in things related to technology and stayed far away from economy. After coming back to this world, she did review the lessons she had learned back then. 4 years gap was not so easy to be overcome. There were many things that Rhea had forgotten. Thankfully, the basic was still there and Rhea could learn everything from the beginning once again. It was more than enough that she managed to finish her thesis and defense back then. But if she was asked to be as proficient as she used to be, then sorry, Rhea didn't have that ability. 4 years in that world had already rewritten most of her memory into that of runes. She was far more proficient in drawing countless runes compared to writing program like before. While Rhea did think that it was a pity, but she didn't regret it. If she truly wanted to, she could learn more after she had reached a certain ranks in the future and didn't have much hope for improvement anymore. But that was for the far future. It was definitely not something that she could do anytime soon. The other good thing about her courses was the fact that she had to be good at math. Otherwise, one would be crazy when they thought about some things that had to be written in the code programming. Well, I don't know if it's relevant, but I'll try to teach you, Rhea finally said with a sigh. Samuel arched his eyebrows. Is it fine for me to know these things? It should be fine? Rhea tilted her head. What I will teach you is just the common sense that even low-ranked formation master will learn. Because a formation master didn't only need to be able to make formation but also know how to create the backdoor and loopholes. Afterwards, you have to be able to break down a formation yourself. This was the common sense in that world. The runes alone didn't have much meaning or their power was extremely limited until they were combined together to form formation. A formation is a combination of countless runes, working together to create the effect that their maker longed. So, is it used universally? Samuel asked carefully. Not really. There are types that you need to watch before you can count the escape route or the backdoor in the formation, Rhea replied and then tilted her head. To be honest, people without talent to be Runemaster might find it difficult, because you can't see the mana fluctuation in the air. Ha! This time, Samuel was stunned and they had entered the crack. They easily bypassed the formation that Rhea made and Samuel could see a magic beast rushing over only to be chopped into countless pieces. What? Can you see the mana fluctuation? Samuel asked. His throat was a bit dry. He knew that they could sense mana when they were meditating and then able to guide the mana into their body. After that, as long as they concentrate enough, they would be able to sense mana's fluctuation within their own body and when others were using magic spells or anything like that. But on normal times, it was not that easy to detect mana within a person's body, no matter who they were. And directly sensing mana in the air, it was even more outrageous. I didn't mean that I can sense the mana concentration in the air. That kind of thing is definitely impossible. Rhea rolled her eyes as she continued to walk forward and then stopped before making the protective rune circle. This formation is simply the best when she wanted to do something. As for the mana concentration in the air, it was impossible for her to detect without meditating on the spot and try to compare the result with her usual meditation or something like that. Then, what I can sense is the mana fluctuation from the runes itself. When the runes are not activated, they will not actively stir the mana in the air and will usually lay dormant. It will remain undetected most of the time, but not for Runemasters. Rhea looked at the formation that had started operating in front of her and the magic beasts that were directly slaughtered in front of her. I know that you can't see it, but for me, the entire place is covered with runes. Not all of the runes are visible, so I don't know their exact uses, but from the moment I step into this crack, I know that there are runes all over the walls, or more like, the entire place is under the effect of a formation. It was precisely because she could see this that she knew the existence of those pillars and what formation it used after some investigation. This could be said to be a kind of talent for her, but whether this talent is a good thing or a bad thing, Rhea didn't know. Chapter 604, City Eye Base. Samuel pursed his lips. Forget it. I don't think that I need to ask so many things from you, Samuel said slowly. He had always known that his parents told him that he had no talent to be a rune master, but he didn't expect that the world that a rune master saw would be completely different from him. It was as if they came from a completely different world. No, it was as if they were seeing a completely different world from the supposedly same world. In a way, it was actually quite magical. Rhea chuckled. You don't have to feel down. Your talent is actually higher than me. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Samuel to reach rank 6 without using so much resources like her. After all, the mana she gained from the special magic core was quite a lot. Without those special magic core, she would not have been able to reach rank 6 so quickly. Forget it. Samuel shook his head and then looked around. Which way? Here. Just follow me. Okay. The other's location. While Rhea and Samuel entered the crack, Peter led the others to leave City J base. For this matter, Dina only felt that her base was clear and then asked Jonas to help her manage the base well. She wanted to use this time to practice more and possibly reach higher ranks at the fastest speed possible. Because if she didn't work hard, she would be left behind by Peter and Samuel. This is something that Dina couldn't accept. Miss Dina. Both Samuel and the Runemaster entered the crack. Would you like to follow them? Jonas asked carefully. Follow them? Dina was silent for a moment and then sneered. If it's so easy to follow those two, I wouldn't have waited for so long. It was impossible for her to follow Samuel and Rhea. A Runemaster's means were not something that ordinary people could content with. Moreover, in such a complicated world within the crack, Dina didn't have the confidence that she would be able to deal with her. After all, the annoying tactic of running away when one couldn't beat the opponent was the signature of a Runemaster. There were many people who were already angered to death because of these Runemasters over the years. They were about to win, but these B***stards ended up taking out teleportation formation and left instantly. Who wouldn't be angry? Even though it was not impossible for others to buy teleportation formation, the price was so high that they wanted to vomit blood, alright? Moreover, who would dare to try using teleportation formation when fighting against a Runemaster? As long as they distort the space and the coordinates, they could even be sent to the space. There were already many tragedy in that world. Dina definitely didn't want to replicate those miserable experiences in this world. There was no need for her to provoke the Runemaster unless it was absolutely necessary. Anyway, having more friends are better than having more enemies. Miss Dina, don't mind me. Just focus on the base's reconstruction. Dina waved her hand. Don't think that I don't know about the large formation that she had made. If there's another emergency, just activate it. Yes, Mississippi. The formation plate was held by Jonas as Dina didn't have much interest in it. While the formation was powerful, it was only a rank 5 formation. She heard it from the general who negotiated with Rhea. After all, building a rank 5 and rank 6 formation was completely different. The amount of resources they needed to invest in order to build a rank 6 formation was something that many of them couldn't obtain. Splash! Playing with the blood in her hand, Dina's eyes narrowed. Now that the magic beast's tide had passed, she just had to focus on improving her strength. Despite the fact that there were a lot of magic beast corpses used for the formation, the remaining blood was collected by Dina and the bodies were used by the base to feed and other things. Dina didn't control this matter. Next time we meet, I won't lose so easily. Peter and the others sighed. At this time, Peter had brought the group of people to City I Base. City I Base was located not far from City J Base and also got hit during the magic beast's tide. There were a lot of ruins in front of the base and the condition was quite bad. After all, there were no powerful returnees who could protect the city. The people and the soldiers had to work together to repel the magic beasts that tried to get close. Nothing is intact out here. Amelia looked at the scene in front of her, feeling inexplicably down. Even though they were not here when the magic beasts came, but the destruction caused by the magic beast's tide was very clear for them to see. This made them feel that they were really small. The powerful returnees couldn't protect the entire world, and there was a limit to how much they could protect the bases and so on. Other people would have to stand up if they wanted to protect their homes. Right now, the situation was extremely precarious. Well, to a certain degree. Things have only started to get better, but it's already half destroyed here. Ruben sighed deeply. He was more involved in City A Base's development, so he knew how much they have worked hard in order to create a better world. The farming, the industry that was slowly rebuilt, and so on. Everyone was working slowly and surely towards a better future. But this magic beast's tide caused several bases to go back to the state before liberation. It was really miserable. Is it really enough to deal with the magic beasts? Sophia asked in a soft voice. No, if people want to live well, there are more things that have to be done, Arnold said slowly inside. But for now, the most important thing is to survive. Chapter 605. Survive. Survive. It was just one word, but there were countless struggles behind it. Struggles that were left unsaid. Well, you can enter City I Base for the time being, Peter interrupted before this group of people fell into memory or anything like that. He didn't have any plan to accompany them all the time. His task was simply to send them here. I know. Thank you very much for your help, Peter, Arnold said with a smile on his face. Peter looked at this man who was bigger than him and silently wondered whether Samuel ever thought that Arnold might be more suitable to be a pure warrior. But at the same time, he didn't dare to ask. Samuel should have his reasons why he let Arnold become a magic warrior. It's a transaction, so you don't have to feel so burdened about it. Peter waved his hand and then left. The others looked at each other and entered City I Base. Arnold and Ruben explained their purpose and also stated that they would help with the defense. The people in City I Base simply welcomed them and didn't ask many questions. But when they saw the situation in the base, they could understand the reason more or less. City I Base was extremely poor. So poor that the people lived in this base looked more like beggars than anything else. Even the soldiers' clothing were not in a good condition. This might be the effect of the magic beast's tide from before, but seeing such a scene, it would be a lie to say that their conscience didn't hurt. Does any of you have a lot of clothes? Amelia whispered in a low voice.
No.
I don't like to pack such a thing, Sophia replied helplessly. The only clothes that she brought with her was only the clothes that she has been wearing. There was no way she could give those clothes to others. Looking at the others, they clearly didn't expect to see such a scene and didn't have much resources in their hand either. How about food? Amelia asked again. If it's food, I brought enough, Ruben interjected when he saw them. I have already given a space storage scroll containing grains to the leader of City I Base. They will open a canteen and let the people eat. Canteen. Looking at the large number of lifeless people, they felt a bit helpless. The gap between the rich and the poor in this world had become bigger after the coming of the magic beasts. There were many places that was basically destroyed and so on. It was already their greatest blessing to be able to stay alive until now in such a poor base. "Let's clean up the magic beasts first," Arnold finally said. Yes. In this way, their group was busy killing magic beasts for their training. Most of the meat would be eaten, and if there were some left over, they would bring it to City I Base to exchange with some things. Though Reuben was the one who negotiated. He knew what City I Base needed and used this chance to trade some things that was more convenient to obtain in City I Base. The others have no opinion about this. He's still working as the base's assistant even in other people's base. Sean complained, but he still followed behind Reuben when the latter made the negotiation. After all, Sean knew very well that his own father was trying to train him in this direction. Even though Sean himself didn't like it, he knew that this was also an option presented to him. Because his talent is not very good. Many other people might forcefully try to practice again and again, trying their best to break through the shackle and become the best in the poor environment. But Sean didn't want to do it like that. How many people could possibly survive and shine in such situation? Not everyone was capable, and the only thing they could do was to do their best to survive. In such a big family, Sean knew that he was not the most capable nor most talented. So he could only try to work hard and help his family as much as possible. At least, the people in City I Base are not corrupt, Amelia commented when she saw the canteen that gave these people porridge. She had asked about the water source, and they said that there was a river nearby. While it was not the best place to get water, it was good enough for them. Indeed, Arnold chuckled. There are more and more people coming to City I Base, Amelia commented when she saw a group of people coming again. Arnold glanced to the back and nodded. There were a lot of people who had confidence in their skills and chose to enter war-torn area. Well, war between humans and magic beasts. Do you find someone familiar? Amelia noticed that Arnold was looking at the group of people who came to the base.
No.
Perhaps I'm seeing wrong, Arnold replied with a smile on his lips, but he himself was not entirely sure about it. Amelia frowned but didn't pester Arnold about it. Within the crack. In just a few days, Rhea and Samuel easily found the formation inside. Seeing the familiar formation, Samuel sighed deeply. It seems as if these formations are waiting for you to find, Samuel complained. How could it be? Rhea laughed. There are many people who could easily find these formations, and it's impossible for me to travel half around the world just to find these formations. I can only find those that are nearby. Samuel nodded in understanding. Just to find this formation alone. Well, they did spend some time. But it was not that difficult. Do you know whose pillars this is? I don't know, Rhea answered honestly. But it might be related to Dina or Ruth who were nearby. Chapter 606. Special Magic Core. Samuel nodded. Do you plan to take the special magic cores now? Don't worry. I set up the teleportation formation outside and will be teleported right away, Rhea replied with a smile. There won't be such a case where we have to run around while being chased by the magic beasts again. Thinking about the past where the two of them had to run around because of these magic beasts, Samuel laughed. It couldn't be said to be a bad past, but it was indeed very tiring for them to keep running around because the magic beasts were chasing after them. The main cause was naturally these formations that made trouble for them. Samuel pointed outside. I'll wait within the formation. When you're done, just come out and activate it. Got it. Rhea looked at the walls and studied it. Seeing that the number had changed, Rhea knew that either Ruth or Dina should have taken the special magic cores here. But even if they took it, it didn't matter that much. After all, Rhea never stipulated that these special magic cores were hers. The rules for the resources in the wilderness has always been whoever got it could get it. So she simply looked around and after confirming the use of the formation, took the special magic core and headed out. The formation would not activate so quickly, so she went out and activated the teleportation formation. Swish! They moved away from the previous location. Samuel looked at the dark cave in front of him and arched his eyebrows. We're going deeper? Yes. How many more special magic cores do you plan to take? Samuel asked, half complaining. I don't know, but I think that my body will reach its limit soon, Ria replied as she rubbed her chest. There were petal markings there, which had long formed the shape of lotus and had become clearer and clearer. From what Ria knew, taking too much special magic core could change their body's constitution. At the same time, such natural resources couldn't be absorbed unlimitedly by humans, because too much of it would make their connection to nature closer and made them separated from their humans' emotions. This was one of the drawbacks of the special magic cores. Normally, people would not be able to find more than one special magic core in their entire life. After all, the special magic cores were formed in extremely special places and it couldn't be obtained through normal means. But these formations were all using special magic cores to power them up, which gave people chance to get it. Of course, artificial special magic core could be formed, but the price is very big. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many magic beasts dying within the crack because of this matter. I see. Samuel nodded, not too surprised. Ria chuckled when she saw Samuel's expressions. I don't plan to take this rank 5 special magic core. I plan to give it to Amelia. Hearing the word Amelia, Samuel turned to look at Ria. I know that Amelia is naturally talented and could reach higher ranks faster, but at the same time, her concentration when meditating is extremely low, Ria said helplessly. Her physical strength is far better than her mana, which is not very conducive for a magic warrior. A magic warrior would try to strike a balance between their physical strength and mana improvement. Normally speaking, it should be the same for Amelia. But her talent was a bit special as in her physical strength increased rapidly during various battles. While battle would mostly hone people's experience, instinct, and so on, but for Amelia, it would also help her to increase her strength faster. This caused some imbalance between her mana improvement and her physical improvement. If Amelia could use the special magic core, her mana would be more abundant than before. I don't think that she can use one special magic core, Samuel said with a frown. The amount of mana contained within it is too much for a magic warrior of the same ranks to absorb. Not to mention, Amelia was only a rank 4 magic warrior. If she were to take the special magic core, the mana amount within her body might be more than what a rank 6 magic warrior needed. It was too much. How about dividing it into 4? Ria asked after some contemplation. 4. Arnold, Amelia, Reuben, and Stephen, Ria replied. Reuben and Stephen are magicians, so they need mana more while Amelia and Arnold have some disparage between their mana improvement and their physical improvement. Samuel thought about it and then pursed his lips. If it's Reuben and Stephen, they might need an entire special magic core rather than just half. Then I'll look more for them. Ria laughed. For the first one, I'll just divide it into 4 like this. The quarter of a special magic core would be more than enough for Amelia and Arnold to practice for a long time. As for herself, a rank 5 special magic core didn't have much use anymore for Ria. As for giving it to other returnees, sorry, she was not that selfless. Unless they could come up with something that she needed, then Ria would rather give this to her friends that might need it more. After all, the stronger her friends, the more reassured Ria would be. She didn't want to worry about her friends all the time. Even though so, there were times when Ria didn't really want to involve them into this dangerous world. If not because the world itself changed and dragged everyone into this whirlpool, she would have never told any of them about this matter. It was simply too dangerous and probably should be said to be magical. So you plan to get more? Samuel asked in amusement. Yes, Ria nodded with a smile. Then I'll help you. Of course you have to help me. Haven't you promised to accompany me when we're in the crack? Chapter 607. City I Base. Samuel arched his eyebrows. The main reason why he agreed was because he could practice a lot within the crack as there were many magic beasts waiting for him to kill. But if he could get other resources while exploring with Ria, it would also be worth it. In that case, your goal is the rank 6 special magic core? Yes. Ria nodded. Right now, she's only a rank 6 magician, Runemaster, rather than a rank 5 special magic core. A rank 6 special magic core would be able to help her much better. In that case, we have to work hard. It's not so easy to get a rank 6 special magic core. Samuel chuckled. Recalling their previous experience, Rhea also smiled. The two of them chatted happily as they went deeper into the crack, completely treating this exploration as an outing rather than a dangerous journey. City I Base. Some time passed ever since they had stayed in City I Base. During this period of time, no one could contact Samuel and Rhea, but they were not worried about it. If there were any magic beasts that could kill them, then the entire world would be too unsafe. Those two people were also taking risks by entering the crack, but this kind of risk was nothing much compared to the resources they could get. With their strength, there was not much that others could worry about. If they wanted to help, they should practice more and possibly get stronger faster than others. Right now, they were still far behind these returnees who have various tricks under their sleeves. Mel, you have only meditated for half an hour, Arnold reminded when he saw Amelia coming out of the room again. They all rented 2 houses to live. One house for the women and the other for the men. When they have time, they would practice on the back courtyard that they connected with each other or go out to practice killing those magic beasts. Life was quite peaceful and relatively harmonious during this period of time. To be honest, Arnold himself was not sure what kind of mentality he had when they managed to live so well like this. The battles were tiring. But at the same time, they knew that they would not die so easily and could rest assured in this temporary residence. Because the protection that Rhea gave to them meant that no one would be able to kill them in their sleep. Moreover, Melly would always stay outside to guard at night. Even if it was not completely safe and foolproof, but they were definitely not in the most tense state all the time. Could be said to be quite monotonous. I don't feel like meditating today, Amelia admitted in a low voice and sat down on the grass. Is it not possible for us to increase our mana rapidly through some methods? I feel that it'll take years for me to reach rank 5. Before coming here, Samuel had told them that he hoped when he came to pay a visit, they had reached rank 5. Because only if they could reach rank 5 would it be possible for him to leave them be and didn't monitor them so much. As for what Samuel was actually planning, Amelia didn't know. But she could guess. Probably leaving City A Base to see the world and help to clear up the cracks. After all, the magic beasts that managed to come out of the cracks were not very strong, and if Samuel and Rhea wanted to get stronger faster, they had to enter the crack on their own. The two of them had basically cleared out all the magic beasts around City A Base. It was not an exaggeration to say that City A Base was the safest base in Continent Z with how those two has been clearing out the magic beasts back then. Now, they were basically replicating what they did around City J Base. Whether it was for their own good or for something else, no one knew for sure. But one thing for sure, there was still a limit to the number of magic beasts. If Samuel and Rhea truly needed these magic beasts as resources to get stronger, it was obvious that the two of them would not stay in City A Base for a long time. But could they leave them be without any worry? It was impossible. The safest method would be for them to catch up with them. It was just, that was a mission impossible. If it was so easy to catch up with these returnees, it would be impossible for them to wait for such a long time. There might be some resources, but you have to ask your brother for that, Arnold said helplessly. Amelia, thinking about how her brother has always been punishing her. Amelia felt that it would be better for her not to provoke her brother any further. She still wanted to live and didn't want to be punished again. How about if I ask Rhea instead? Amelia asked helplessly. Even though Rhea will definitely diss and tease her, but she would not punish her. In terms of lethality, Rhea was definitely less threatening than her brother. Arnold was silent and he looked at Amelia with the look. Are you sure you want to bother her for this? Amelia coughed and then stretched her hand. Oh well, let's just get out and hunt more magic beasts. I can't stand meditating all the time. Hearing this, Arnold let out a helpless laugh and then nodded. The two of them went out of the house and headed out of City I Base. Looking at the people who were still skinny and could only force themselves to work for the sake of a little bit of food, Amelia sighed slightly. Should she be glad that the leader of City I Base was not a corrupt official or feel bad because even if they did help a bit, the situation in City I Base was still not very good. Chapter 608. Arnold and Amelia. To be honest, There has always been gaps between the bases, just like there were gaps between cities and continents before. It was impossible for all places to be exactly the same. City I base was one of the relatively poor area. There were not many capable people here, and the leader was barely scraping by for the people to live. Even though they did try to plant food and so on, the current situation was not very good. Because of their low combat power, most of the people in City I base could only focus on their survival. For many matters, they could not think too much. One of them was the problem of clothing. The temperature has gotten colder lately. Do you think it'll be a good thing if they started to pay more attention? Amelia asked when they walked on the street. After becoming a magic warrior, it was not like they were not sensitive to the temperature changes, but that it would not affect their body too much, and at most, they knew that the temperature was different from before. But for the details, it would depend on how sensitive they were. I have talked with the leader, but they couldn't really spare manpower for this, Arnold replied. Does Reuben has any way? Reuben was the one who had the most connection, and for some reasons, he also has a lot of resources in his hand. Amelia felt that if they really wanted to get more clothing for the people, they could try to ask him. Him? Arnold was surprised by Amelia's question and tilted his head. I don't know, but he could try to negotiate. The two of them continued to walk out of the base. After a while, the two of them stopped and Arnold turned his head to the side. Someone is here. Bang! A counterattack shield was formed right in front of them and blocked the bullet that was about to reach them. However, Arnold's expression changed. Sniper! Firearms were not completely abandoned and only modified. In fact, many people still used guns, bombs, and so on when fighting against the magic beasts. But what they were facing right now is a sniper. Guns distribution was restricted in Continent Z, and strictly speaking, it should not be possible for ordinary people to get a sniper rifle in their current territory. Who is it? Amelia looked up at the tall buildings in the direction where the bullet came from, but it was too far away to see clearly. While the magic beast's tide had destroyed many places, but it didn't mean that it completely destroyed City I. There were still some tall buildings remained, and whoever built them before should be proud. Because their construction materials was not only proven against earthquake but also against the rampaging magic beasts and won. Tisk! Arnold took out a telescope from his space storage scroll and looked in that direction. Samuel had given them enough space storage scrolls so that they could do their missions easily. As for the price, it was simply taken from the contribution points they had earned so far. No matter what, they would feel uncomfortable if they received things for free. Unless they were close family members, no one would like to be taken advantage of by others. You're... Arnold muttered in a low voice when he saw the familiar face. Bang! Another bullet came towards them and Arnold pulled Amelia out of the way. Who is it? Amelia frowned, finding the name unfamiliar. One of the few people who wants my life back then, Arnold replied and took out a sniper rifle from his space storage scroll. Amelia looked at the weapon that Arnold took out and was silent. She knew his previous profession, so she was not too surprised. But using this kind of weapon, a mercenary? Yes. Arnold raised the weapon in his hand, but it was heading in a completely different direction. The next moment he pulled the trigger. Bang! In the distance, a person fell down. That's his men, Arnold replied. They will surround this place soon, so let's go. Okay. While Amelia has a lot of questions in her mind, such as why they were using firearms, but she chose not to ask it. Because Amelia knew very well that this was not the place for her to ask. Swish! Bang! 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 As Arnold expected, the two of them were ambushed right when they were about to leave the street. Seeing these people staying on the second floor of the ruined buildings or on top of vehicles, Amelia's expression turned for the worse. The counterattack shield was turned on, but it was not of much use when dealing with bullets, because she couldn't shoot them directly. Use the weapon given by her, Arnold said as he took out the gun that Rhea gave to him and started shooting too. Bang! 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 What followed was explosion due to the fire and lightning elements. The runes carved on the weapon allowed the elements to be used freely. Amelia frowned, but she still listened to Arnold and started to shoot these people in front of her. Bang! 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 Gunshots rang out. Both sides were fighting with firearms instead of magic, and it created a kind of different situation. But it didn't last long, as these people couldn't match both Amelia and Arnold in terms of shooting skills. Many of them died on the spot when they were attacked, and most of them were solved by Arnold. Only a few were killed by Amelia. Arnold could see the hesitation and uneasiness in Amelia's eyes, so he didn't force her. Roar. The magic beasts are coming. Arnold frowned when he saw this. Leave it to me. Amelia immediately switched her stance and took out her sword and quickly killed these magic beasts. Compared to dealing with humans, she preferred to deal with these magic beasts. You! Arnold looked helpless, and then he saw someone throwing a grenade. Watch out! Bang! Chapter 609. Arnold and Amelia, too. Bang! The power of explosion would not harm a rank 4 magic warrior so easily, but it would still cause them some pain. Amelia frowned and looked at the counterattack shield that perfectly blocked the explosion with relief. If she hadn't been taught this shield by her brother in the past, she might end up suffer a lot from the explosion just now. Amelia! Arnold called out. I'm fine. You deal with them first. Amelia replied, and then moved nimbly around these magic beasts. The sword in her hand quickly and accurately slashed through these magic beasts' neck and ended their lives. The movements were neat, and there was no trace of hesitation. After all, Amelia has long gotten used to this kind of thing. Got it. Bang! 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 Retreat! These people knew that they could not deal with Arnold, and with more and more magic beasts attracted by the sound, they would be surrounded if they continued to stay here. So it would be better for them to leave. Tisk! Arnold saw these people leaving, but he couldn't stop them. He turned around, and seeing that there were still many magic beasts, he simply shot some of them before switching his weapon. After being trained as a magic warrior, he hadn't used these firearms for a long time. The one he used was the gun given by Ria because she made too much of them as experiments. Ria herself kept some for herself while the rest were given to them. In her words, these were not very useful for her because the power was too weak. Of course, if other people were to hear what she was saying, it was estimated that they would want to beat her up. Because for many of them, the power of the guns modified by Ria was extremely valuable. Amelia, how are you? Arnold asked. I'm fine, but you need to explain to me what happened before. Amelia replied as she kicked a magic beast that was about to bite her. These magic beasts were really annoying, and they looked like they were about to kill her. Ur is the leader of the mercenary group that has conflict with my group, Arnold replied. We received the same missions more than once in the past, and my performance is better than him. After that, this happened a few more times, and the two groups are always competing with each other. Business competition? Amelia was stunned. She knew that Arnold is a mercenary, but she didn't expect that there were such competition among them. As for the fact that there were mercenaries, it was not exactly a secret. These people were usually active at the border, and they would do many things for money. They basically didn't have any scruples because they only cared about money. Arnold also became a mercenary because of money and some other matters back then. He didn't have any other ability but to fight, so he simply left and signed himself for various missions. For years, he didn't leave the border. When he came back, he was no longer the same person as he used to be. He had his comrades, lost some comrades, and also killed people. Don't worry too much, Arnold continued, and then shoot the last magic beast that was approaching. The other mercenaries shouldn't have come to this area. Continent Z is vast, and strictly speaking, they would stay away from the capital city. The main reason was because the control over weapon in the capital city was too strict, and it was too uncomfortable for these mercenaries. For people who have gotten used to the lives at the border where they were basically facing danger all the time, not being able to hold their weapon would make their nerves tense. Arnold had experienced it himself. So he applied for weapon possession, but the weapons that he could bring to City A was limited. Haven't you quit your job as mercenary? Amelia asked in a low voice while cleaning up the magic beasts' corpses that she had killed. She never had any scruples from killing magic beasts because they were not human beings. They didn't have much thoughts on their own and only relied on instincts. After all, if Amelia has problems with killing animals, she wouldn't be able to eat meat with peace of mind. But killing people was different. Mercenaries had their own paper and so on, which to a certain degree legalized their existence. Many officials tacitly agreed of their existence and let them work for them. After all, there were some bounty that was released from time to time. For these mercenaries, the best thing that they could do was to be able to get a lot of money from finishing their tasks. I did quit, but some people are unreasonable, Arnold replied with a bitter smile. There was an embarrassed look on his face as he looked at Amelia in front of him. To be honest, he didn't expect that these people would still have grudge against him after so many years. They were no longer mercenaries. But perhaps the fact that he had restricted their development over the years had caused Yur's resentment. Amelia looked at Arnold in front of her. It was rare to see this big man looked embarrassed like this. She sighed. Don't worry too much. These weapons could no longer harm us. It might sound arrogant, but Amelia was telling the truth. Most firearms could no longer hurt either Amelia or Arnold because their bodies have gotten stronger over their practice. But for the sake of their safety, they would still make the counterattack shield when they were attacked. After all, relying on the power of the flesh alone might not be enough. If they could modify the sniper rifle in the same way as what Rhea did, it might be dangerous, Arnold said while rubbing his forehead. He knew that he could not run from his past, but he didn't expect that his past would chase after him to this extent. Chapter 6:10. Arnold and Amelia 3. Amelia was stunned. Is there anyone who could use runes aside from Rhea? I don't think so. If you mean someone stronger than her, then the answer is no, but if I'm not wrong, she shared this technology with the official, Arnold replied. What he meant was the technology to apply runes into weapon. Even though the known runes were limited, but if the officials tried to use their Runemasters to apply it to other weapons, it was still possible for them to do it. At least in terms of firearms, their knowledge definitely surpassed Rhea. Before the earthquake happened, Rhea was only a student, but there were many people in the army under the government. They have extensive knowledge over various weapons and even have a complete directory of it. So if they tried to replicate the runes that Rhea used on other weapons, they might be able to do it. It'll be troublesome then. Amelia thought about the power of the weapon modified by Rhea and felt some headache. Moreover, Amelia knew her best friend very well. Rhea made these weapons for them and didn't really care if others replicate them. Because what Rhea wanted was a weapon that her friends could use to protect themselves. As for Rhea herself, unless she could make weapons that could kill rank 6 or even rank 7 magic beasts easily, it was estimated that Rhea would not care too much. The formation that she could make was more than enough for her. The mercenary has its own means to get information. Arnold thought about his days as mercenary and felt more headache. Let's go back for today and talk with the others. I'm sure Yur will not give up so easily. To avoid implicating you. If you're talking that you're going to leave on your own again, then I'll not agree. Amelia interrupted before Arnold could finish speaking. The two of them stopped their movements of collecting the magic beasts and looked at each other. In this ruined city, the two of them seemed as if they were ready to fight. Arnold took a deep breath. You're Samuel's sister, Mel. You know very well that there are already many people who might want to take advantage of you, and if my enemies are added. So what? Amelia took a step forward. Her eyes were staring directly at Arnold's direction. If you think that by running away you can avoid the problem, then you're too stupid. I have already appeared here with you, and it's estimated that the man called Yur should have seen me. Why do you even think that by staying away from me and the others will solve your problems? Are you afraid of them? I'm not afraid of them. I'm more afraid of losing you, Arnold replied without hesitation and then froze. His expression contorted for a moment and he rubbed his forehead. He really didn't want to tell Amelia about this matter right now because he knew very well that he couldn't live a normal life. Even after coming back from his work, Arnold would still carry weapon with him. Because he knew very well that it was not so easy for him to get rid of his past and all. Just when he thought that he could live a normal life and tried to move on, the earthquakes happened. The long-lasting memory of the past and the instinct that was honed for so many years on the battlefield was instantly brought up. Living this kind of life again was nothing much for Arnold. What worries him was if there were no hope for them to defeat the magic beasts and so on. Thankfully, the situation was not that bad. But he never expected that what he used to fear would come up at this unfortunate time. My brother is afraid of losing me. Ria is afraid of losing me, Amelia said calmly, stating the facts in an indifferent tone. Amelia might be a bit naive and childish, but she was by no means stupid. She knew very well that being pampered by others, especially someone as powerful as Samuel and Ria, would definitely have the consequences, because she would be labeled as their weakness. It was also because of this that Amelia would still follow the training arranged by Samuel and Ria. If she truly didn't want to, she could just be lazy all the time and try to escape. But she understood that because of this favor given by them, that she could enjoy a lot of resources and held an important place in their heart. So she had to have a sufficient ability to protect herself to a certain degree. Even if she couldn't be as powerful as the others, she couldn't be lagging behind. To be honest, Amelia still has the mentality of going with the flow along with a somewhat lazy personality. After all, she didn't like training. But after Victoria's incident, Amelia knew very well that it was impossible for her to live such a carefree life. She has to get stronger, both for herself and for the people who cared for her. Arnold, I'm not weak, Amelia said slowly. You would not be happy living by yourself without any of your friends, and I will not be happy either. I don't think brother will want you to be a loner either. The world is dangerous, so we just have to work hard to protect ourselves. Arnold looked at Amelia in front of him. She has always surprised him. Childish, playful, naughty. This was all the label that many people had given to Amelia. But despite these characteristics, Amelia could also be quite mature and reliable at times. A contradictory person. Yet, she was also an amazing person in Arnold's eyes. What if? If something did happen in the end, it just meant that it's our fate and I'll accept it. But lives have to go on, Amelia said softly. Chapter 6:11. Arnold and Amelia. 4. Arnold was silent. Amelia took a deep breath and raised her head to look at Arnold in front of her. Her expression showed a certain kind of determination and encouragement. He has experienced a lot of losses and didn't really want to see anyone close to him died again. It was painful. But Amelia was right. Life is short, so just enjoy it, Arnold said slowly. Amelia chuckled. That's right. I don't know how long I'll live or what I'll experience in the future. So what I can do is to enjoy the current life I have. Besides, another reason why she could do this was because there were many people who pampered her and allowed her to do whatever she wanted. No matter what she wanted to do, there will be people who were willing to support her and allowed her to live well. So Amelia's outlook of life was still very positive. All right, Arnold sighed. Let's deal with him next time and discuss it with the others. Good. Amelia smiled happily, showing the dimples on her cheek. Seeing Amelia like this, Arnold felt his hands were a bit itchy and wanted to poke her cheeks. She's really cute. This was the only thing that Arnold could think of as the two of them reached City I base. Inside the crack. After a long time walking around and killing unknown number of magic beasts, the two people finally reached the pillar where the rank 6 formation was located. Of course, along the way they have already obtained another rank 5 special magic core. Samuel was still not interested in it and left it to Ria while she kept it inside her world so that she could give it to the others later. This is the rank 6 special magic core, right? Samuel asked for confirmation when he saw the familiar formation and pillars. To be honest, he couldn't see the differences between these places one after another aside from the fact that after the third one the entire place would turn blood red. The scenes were really eerie and Samuel felt that it was hard for him to see it, because he understood that the blood red markings meant warning. Yes, Ria stretched her hand. Based on estimation, we took around a month to reach this place, which is not much different from before. She was trying to estimate the strength between these formations inside the cracks, and the result was not surprising. After all, there was restriction to the shape of the formation due to the calculation and so on. Ria had some estimation about the direction, but since this formation was basically built in 3D shape, it was not so easy to calculate everything. Even Ria still has limitation in this regards. Her brain was not supercomputer that could calculate everything clearly so quickly, and she needed time to sort out everything. "Do you need help?" Samuel asked. "Just wait outside and I'll be done. If possible, stay inside the formation," Rhea said with a smile. She had built the teleportation formation not far from this formation. "Okay." Samuel nodded and agreed to Rhea's approach. Sometimes he did look like Rhea's thug, only responsible to beat up the magic beasts that got close to Rhea and listened to her words. But Samuel didn't mind that much. His biggest gain from following Rhea was various resources that he could take from the crack. Rhea never stopped him from taking the few ores and minerals they found along with countless magic beasts' corpses. Unfortunately, it was impossible to put the living magic beasts into the space storage scrolls. There were some advanced space storage scrolls that could hold living beings, but Rhea said that she couldn't make it for the time being. Even if she could make it, she would probably only make it for herself and not spread it out. Samuel didn't mind that much. Everyone had their own reservation of what they could and couldn't share. It was simply impossible for Samuel to ask Rhea to hand over her research to others. What she had taken out was already more than enough to cause turmoil for many people. Swish! As Samuel walked out, Rhea studied the formation once more. "As expected, a formation at this rank can still make me marvel from time to time," Rhea murmured. There was a hint of regret within her voice, because Rhea knew very well that she would not have any chance to learn formation from others again. She could only study and open up this path on her own. Many things after rank 7 had become relatively intangible and hard to describe. Rhea knew very well that achieving rank 7 would become the very first step for her to truly become a high-ranked magician. This is a step that many people wanted to take but unable to do so. Calm down. Taking a deep breath, Rhea studied the formation for a while before taking the special magic core and walked out of the formation calmly. She headed to the formation where Samuel was located and activated the formation, sending them far away from this place. Swish! Seeing the different scenery around him, Samuel sighed. "No matter how many times you use it, I still feel amazed by the teleportation formation. I think that you should have used it very often in the past," Rhea said without hesitation and walked towards a stone and sat down while holding the special magic core in her hand. "Are you planning to take it now?" Samuel's eyes revealed surprise when he saw this. Rhea nodded. "Don't worry. We're far away from the formation, and even if it activated, it'll only harm the nearby magic beasts." Samuel nodded helplessly. Those formations definitely only harmed the magic beasts because they ran fast enough. "I'll guard." "Thank you." Rhea smiled and started to absorb the rank 6 special magic core. The process didn't really take that much time, and soon, the special magic core dimmed. Chapter 6:12, Soul Attack. Crush. With a little force, the core turned into dust. Rhea looked at the special magic core in her hand and sighed deeply. Even though she herself is a rank 6 Runemaster, but most of her mana was used to strengthen her physique. This delayed her own advancement, making her need more mana compared to ordinary magicians. If it was her disciple here, he might be able to reach rank 6 in one spot. Sigh. Forget it. From the moment she chose to become a Rune Master, Rhea knew very well that the amount of mana she needed might be outrageously high. After all, it was not so easy for her to take a shortcut to increase her physique. Rhea took out a mirror and lowered her collar to look at the markings that appeared from the absorption of these special magic cores, and saw that the mark has become clearer. If this continued, it was estimated that the markings might glow, and it was impossible for her to hide it anymore. "I might not be able to take too many special magic cores anymore." Thinking about this, Rhea shook her head but didn't feel surprised. The highest ranked special magic core only reached rank 9, and the rank 9 definitely contained some kind of power that could not be absorbed directly by humans. The limit for the special magic core that humans could take directly was rank 6. Afterwards, the special magic core had to be treated or suppressed by people of the same ranks as the special magic core before it could be used. Is it because of the special characteristic of the special magic core above rank 6 that these formations are only using rank 6 special magic core at most? Rhea speculated inside her mind for a moment. To be honest, it would not be too surprising even if this was the case. Is it? Rubbing her forehead, Rhea tossed the thoughts in her mind away. No matter what the person who made the formation thought, it was a foregone conclusion that the world was fused together. What she had to do was to cope up with the change and so on. "You're done." Samuel noticed Rhea's movement and turned his head around in surprise. He thought that it would take some time, but Rhea finished it very quickly. "Yes," Rhea replied and stretched her body. "It's not that difficult to absorb the special magic core after you have done so repeatedly." "Is that so?" Samuel nodded when he heard that. "Have you never tried to use the special magic cores?"
No.
"I don't need it." Samuel thought for a moment before saying, "My family in that world had special medicine that I can use to improve my strength. There's no need for me to use the special magic core that can only increase my mana." There were some methods that could increase one's physical strength through the use of mana. But those methods were expensive and Samuel couldn't really replicate most of them. The best he could do was to practice normally and used various resources to temper his body. "Right, your family is really rich." Rhea had a helpless tone when she thought about that. Samuel chuckled. "If you want to, I'll tell you some stories about my life in that world. Not that I think it'll be interesting, though." His life consisted of studying, practicing, and fighting. Because of his status, he never needed to worry about lack of resources. At most, his family would want to send him away to participate in some test and so on. Those things were not very difficult and Samuel would pass it quickly. The most remarkable thing that he had done was probably the global competition that was attended by many geniuses from various families not long before the large magic beasts tide. It was at that time that he became famous and many people came to look for him. "I think that your life will be very interesting compared to me." Rhea shook her head bitterly. Compared to Samuel, who had everything and has an easier starting line, Rhea could remember her own suffering in that world and felt really tired when she thought about it. Because she had to work hard for the sake of herself, it was really tiring. "But I think that the child Rhea would be quite interesting," Samuel commented. When they came to that world, their body was adjusted appropriately. At the very least, they were back to the time when they were teenagers. Not too young to the point that they wouldn't be able to exert their strength properly, but not too old to the point that they were practicing too late. For warriors, it would be best if they started training under 18 years old, while magicians were advised to start training after 12 years old but under 20 years old. To be honest, their age in this world had long exceeded the requirement. But because they were basically starting over the practice that they had succeeded before, they didn't really have much problem. "It might be because we have a completely different experience," Samuel analyzed calmly. In his opinion, to be able to experience a completely different life was a unique experience in itself. After all, not many people would have such chance in their entire life. "Haha, you're right," Rhea chuckled. The two of them were relaxed, but the next moment, their expression changed. The atmosphere around them changed from calm to gloomy in almost an instant, and the two of them moved away from their original position. Swish! A flash of white light passed by the place where they originally stayed, and Rhea's expression distorted slightly. Her hand quickly moved to form the protective rune circle with both hands. Her nerves were tenses, and she understood that this was a moment of life and death. Samuel saw the incoming enemy as he took out his sword, and his expression changed. "Rhea, move away. It's Soul Attack." Swoosh. Chapter 613. Soul Attack 2. Swoosh. The flash of light passed by and Samuel's heart was on his throat. Soul Attack. It was a completely different kind of attack and also one of the most dangerous type of attack. Because if any of them failed to resist the attack, it was not impossible for them to turn into a fools. And there was a magician who specialized in soul named Soul Magician. Soul magicians were relatively weaker in the early stage because their own soul was weak and they couldn't really attack others. But their training focused on enhancing their mental strength, slowly but surely to surpass other magicians. Many magicians have strong mental strength, but they were nothing compared to the Soul Magician. At the same time, the Soul Magician has one great weakness. Their physical strength was definitely the weakest among all of them. "Rhea, I'm fine," Rhea replied and moved away from her position. Her eyes were locked onto the white and black figure that was floating in front of her. It's a rank 7 ghost transformed beast. Ghost transformed beast was a special kind of magic beasts. This magic beast has dark element, and upon reaching rank 7, their soul would be sublimated to the point that their own body would no longer have any physical entity. If one wanted to deal with a ghost transformed beast, they had to use either light element or soul attack. Moreover, because it was in the form of soul, many types of attack would not be able to hit it, and various defenses were useless. The protective rune circle has a certain degree resistance towards soul attack, but it was still fairly weak. Rhea is only a rank 6 rune master. If she really wanted to face a rank 7 ghost transformed beast, her current strength was definitely far from enough. TSK. Samuel gritted his teeth, and lightning element enveloped his body. Even though the lightning element was not the best element against ghost transformed beast, it could resist the ghost transformed beast to a certain degree. Don't get close to it. Swish. The ghost transformed beast moved once more, as fast as light, towards Samuel. He could only kick the ground and slashed upon the ghost transformed beast while moving his body away. The most difficult thing to do when facing the ghost transformed beast was that they could not touch the ghost transformed beast's body in the slightest bit, because the touch might harm their own soul. Any magician, magic warriors, and warriors under rank 7 were weak against soul attack. This includes soul magician. Even though soul magician should have the strongest soul, but their methods of attack was relatively similar to magician in the early stage, because they could not touch upon the power of their soul yet. Unless they used some kind of forbidden technique to forcefully raise their soul power, these soul magicians could not use their soul power recklessly. But a rank 7 ghost transformed beast could do it. After failed to get Samuel, the ghost transformed beast moved away once more. At this moment, a melodious sound rang, and the ghost transformed beast sensed danger and rushed over to Rhea. I'm the messenger of light, borrowing the healing power to treat and expel the impurities in front of me. Lend me your light, purification. As Rhea moved away, she continued her chants. The purification magic spell was definitely not the strongest light elemental magic spell that she knew, but it was the only magic spell that could be casted in wide range. In other words, it could create protection for both of them for a period of time where the ghost transformed beast wouldn't be able to get close. Swish! After dodging the ghost transformed beast, the magic spell was casted and light spread out with Rhea at the center. Her hands quickly moved and runes were formed at extremely fast speed. Her expression was tense, and Rhea was basically racing against time. The purification magic spell wouldn't last long, and she had to create sufficient defense against the ghost transformed beast during this period of time. This is not easy. Not far from her, Samuel was also accumulating his mana. He knew that the purification magic spell would only stop the ghost transformed beast for a few seconds at best, and even then they had to be prepared to be attacked. Because the purification magic spell was not an attack magic spell. At most, it could only hinder the ghost transformed beast. When it knew that this spell couldn't harm it, the ghost transformed beast would definitely come closer towards them. This is a bet. But isn't it fun to bet on their lives like this? The corner of Samuel's lips curled up slightly. A hint of madness appeared within his eyes. He had fought on the front line for a long time, betting his life to fight against countless magic beasts. This is just one of them, and he's excited. The ghost transformed beast hovered around the areas, looking towards the two nasty people below. It wanted to get close, but the light that surrounded these two people made it uneasy. As the light dimmed, the ghost transformed beast saw that Rhea had already formed shield in front of her. Beads of sweat poured on her forehead, and Rhea's expression was not very good. She was using a large amount of mana to make this shield. It's a rank 6 formation after all. Even though Rhea had already absorbed that special magic core, she still couldn't make too many rank 6 formation. At most 2 before her mana bottomed out. Considering that she had already used her mana and runes for other things, she could only make 1. Samuel! Rhea called out and then added, "Don't resist!" Samuel was still accumulating power when he sensed something came to him. His instinct was to resist, but the next moment, he calmed down and let the runes seep into his body. His sword suddenly trembled and Samuel's expression changed. Chapter 6:14 Soul Shield. Rhea! What about you? Samuel yelled when he realized what it is. I'm fine. You! Samuel wanted to scold, but the ghost-transformed beast had already come forward and he swung his sword and lightning spread out. Hiss! The ghost-transformed beast seemed to be scared of something and moved away once more, avoiding Samuel's attack. Rhea was on the side, taking out a mana stone and crushed it on her hand as her mana was recovering. There was some loss because she was in a hurry, but this is the best that she could do. Protect me for 5 seconds, Samuel, Rhea said, and then started to make runes and formation once again. You're really reckless. Samuel took a deep breath and his eyes turned sharp and focused. He knew very well that he had to kill this ghost-transformed beast at the fastest speed possible. Swish! 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 For the next few seconds, Samuel attacked the ghost-transformed beast relentlessly. His sword drew arcs in the air and lightning spread out, destroying the rocks, grounds, and even the ceiling. But none of the attack could hit the ghost-transformed beast cleanly. In this contest of speed, Samuel was on the losing end, and even if he used lightning to stimulate his body, he could not be faster than the ghost-transformed beast in front of him. The realization made Samuel extremely unwilling. But the ghost-transformed beast seemed to have other thoughts because it suddenly moved in Rhea's direction. Swish! Samuel moved to block the ghost-transformed beast. Lightning spreads out. There was determination within his eyes as he turned over in the air and slashed his sword once more. Boom! The place were in ruins due to the battle, and the ghost-transformed beast avoided Samuel and twisted its body before rushing over to Rhea once more. Rhea! Samuel saw this and gritted his teeth. He knew what Rhea was doing, but he couldn't stop the ghost-transformed beast. For the first time in his life, Samuel felt that his attack power was far from enough. He wanted to get stronger, faster, and more. The sword in Samuel's hand trembled as if responding to Samuel's thoughts. Swish! Bang! The ghost-transformed beast was about to get close to Rhea, but something blocked its path and Rhea swiftly moved away from her position. Don't worry, I'm done. Even though her face was pale and her back was covered in sweat, there was still a smile on Rhea's face. She had faced countless dangerous situations more than once in the past, and this was nothing much. Putting one's life on the line, it was a common thing, because if they didn't dare to bet with their lives, they would never get ahead in that world. Hiss! The ghost-transformed beast seemed to be angry with Rhea's reaction and tried to get close to her again. But Rhea was prepared and several runes surged, forming dense arrows heading straight towards the ghost-transformed beast. Swish! 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 The shield, Samuel asked with a frown. Soul shield, Rhea replied. What she has been making was the soul shield, the type of shield formation that could protect one's soul. While a rank 6 formation was still weaker than a rank 7 soul attack, but it could protect one's soul to the greatest extent. To be exact, this was the best formation that Rhea could make with her current ability. She's not strong enough to truly contend against a rank 7 ghost-transformed beast, but Rhea didn't want to give up, because she knew that the moment she gave up would be the moment of her death. She didn't want to die yet, so she had to fight. You better be fine, Samuel muttered under his breath, and then looked at the ghost-transformed beast that was coming towards him. His eyes were cold, and he asked, "Do you have a way to make it stop moving for 1 second?" 1 second is enough, because for people at their level, 1 second was all they needed. It'll be difficult, but not impossible. Rhea smiled faintly and took out another mana stone. When facing against a magic beast that attacked their soul like this, many of her formation could not work that well. And one's soul was not something that they could bet. Flesh and mind injuries could be healed with some methods, but soul injuries might take decades to heal and might even cause irreparable damage. One could not be too careful when dealing with soul attack. But before that, O mighty force of timeless might, weave thy threads of silver light, shield us from all wrath and harm, enclose us now, safe and warm. As Rhea started singing, the ghost-transformed beast seemed as if it has been hit by something and rushed far away. Samuel arched his eyebrows. That's a low-ranked magic spell, right? That kind of magic spell would not be able to block the ghost-transformed beast's attack in the slightest bit. Yes, but it didn't know, Ria replied calmly, while her hands were moving to form formation to trap the ghost transformed beast. Runes after runes were formed in Ria's hands as the light shield slowly dimmed. As if sensing something, the ghost transformed beast rushed over towards Ria once again. It seemed to have completely ignored Samuel because it sensed threat from Ria. But it was too late. The next moment, a large formation spread from under Ria's legs, completely trapping the two of them inside. The ghost transformed beast squirmed, trying to escape to its utmost desire. Now, I'll be the channel of thunder, transmitting the power of lightning and projecting it towards my enemy. The great lightning spear. Rampaging lightning element spread out from Samuel's sword, and with his hastened chance, the sword strike against the ghost transformed beast. Hiss! As the sword slashed through the ghost transformed beast's body, it screamed loudly. Watch out! The next moment, the ghost transformed beast suddenly exploded.
Boom! Chapter 615, Explosion.
The explosion caused earthquake within the crack. From the very beginning, countless magic beasts have stayed far away from this place in fear that they would be implicated. And now, the ceiling was half broken with countless rocks falling down. Cough cough. Ria clutched her chest and felt a faint burning pain. It seemed that a rank 7 ghost transformed beast was still not something that she could deal with in a short term. There were many types of rank 7 magic beasts. The previous giant rock golem was the type that could still be dealt with as long as their attack power was strong enough. With Samuel present, the returnees were not too worried and simply pushed him forward. And they themselves knew that the giant rock golem would not come towards them. But this rank 7 ghost transformed beast was different. The soul attack. Unless they were soul magician at the same ranks, it was almost impossible for them to be unscathed when facing an all-out mutual destruction from the rank 7 ghost transformed beast. Ria gritted her teeth and communicated with her world before warm light soothed her soul. Thanks to the soul shield, the damage to her soul was not that much. The world was also connected to her soul, so it helped her to soothe the soul that was shocked by the rank 7 ghost transformed beast's last attack. Estimating the injury, Ria was relieved that there was almost no injury. After a few days, she should recover as before. Now, Samuel, how are you? Ria asked. Her tone was somewhat urgent. When the rank 7 ghost transformed beast suddenly decided to explode, the person closest to it was Samuel. The explosion power was basically another type of violent soul attack. It was so powerful that it could even affect the areas where they were located, so Samuel, who was the closest to the ghost transformed beast, might be heavily injured. Cough cough. I'm fine. Samuel was half crouching on the ground, using his own sword as a leverage to make sure he would not fall to the ground. The last attack almost caught him off guard, but he still used his reaction ability to push himself as far away as possible and put the sword in front of him to block. Well, the sword was now complaining, though. Samuel looked at his own sword that had faint cracks and felt a bit distressed. His sword was connected to his soul, and in a way, the sword is also his soul's protector. The soul shield that Ria gave to him was broken after bearing the maximum damage from the ghost transformed beast's attack. What left was damage that was borne by the sword. His own soul was fine, but he could guess that his journey of recovering his sword would definitely take a long time. In the past few months, he had already collected a large number of ore and let his sword swallowed it. But it was far from enough. These treasures were too low ranked in his sword's opinion. Are you sure? Ria asked carefully. Rather than me, why don't you care about yourself more? Samuel narrowed his eyes. My reaction speed is faster than you, and I can still avoid the ghost transformed beast's attack. But if you're not careful enough, you will be caught in a moment. The soul shield would have been more useful to you than me. Samuel looked at Ria's pale face and felt really distressed. If only it was possible, he hoped that she could put her life first rather than worrying about him. He's powerful enough to deal with the ghost transformed beast's attack on his own. Because if I put the soul shield on myself, I would not have enough time to put it on you, Ria answered seriously. You? Samuel looked at Ria and sighed. Forget it. How's your soul? The last attack definitely still cover you even if you're far away. The formation that restricted the ghost transformed beast was a large formation, but Rhea still has to be within a certain distance. Otherwise, the formation wouldn't work well. Because of this, Samuel was sure that Rhea was also hit by the ghost transformed beast's attack. I just need to rest a few days, Rhea replied. Before the world was destroyed, her soul would be fine. This might be one of the few advantages of having a soul treasure, and it might be their benefit from coming to that world. Samuel's expressions changed when he heard that. You stay and meditate. I'll guard first. You have to recover your mana too. Rhea frowned. Then I'll let my sword guard. Buzz. The sword moved as if complaining. It had already or the attack towards Samuel, and now he wanted to squeeze its labor again. The sword refused. Samuel saw the sword's protest and silently suppressed it. Rhea saw their action and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Samuel's sword has its own consciousness and always acted like a child. Though it did look like Samuel was squeezing child's labor force. Rhea chuckled when the thoughts crossed her mind and took out a formation plate. Just use this. It can create a shield to protect us, and unless another rank 7 ghost transformed beast come, it would not be broken so easily. All right. Samuel accepted it and then pushed Rhea to the relatively intact area. Go and meditate. With the formation, they didn't have to worry so much, and the impact of the battle would make the other magic beasts stay away. After all, the aura of a rank 7 magic beast was still very prominent. Rhea smiled and sat down. But as she sat down, she was actually thinking about the battle just now. Samuel is right that I should have cared for myself more. In that moment, she decisively put the soul shield on Samuel, completely forgetting that she herself is also very weak in terms of soul defense. Why? Do I care for him because he's my friend, or it's something more? Chapter 6:16. Soul damage. Rhea felt that there was something wrong with her conclusion, but she couldn't think of anything more. There seemed to be something illusory that existed. She didn't seem to be able to grasp it. Rhea shook her head and chose to quickly recover her mana and let the world nourish her soul. The pain had completely disappeared, but Rhea still didn't dare to use her mana in fear that she would accidentally hurt her soul again. But that pain is not the pain of having my soul torn apart, but rather the world's soul was damaged slightly. The connection allowed her to know that the world was hurt, which transferred the pain. But when Rhea checked herself, she realized that she was not hurt in the slightest bit. The world was the one that got hurt due to their connection. When I reach rank 7, I'll build the best soul formation, Rhea muttered in a low breath. She calmed herself down and then focused on recovering. Within a few more months, she should be able to collect the other rank 6 special magic core, and if her estimation was correct, she should be able to reach rank 6 late stage. After that, she had to rely on herself to reach the peak and prepare for the promotion ritual to reach rank 7. There were still many things that she had to do. Buzz. Samuel was sitting on the side, silently recovering his mana and physical strength. Even though the ghost transformed beast was mainly attacking his soul, but he still felt tired physically. Thank you, Samuel whispered in a low voice as he patted the sword in his hand. Without the sword and the soul shield, Samuel didn't know what would happen to him. The soul attack was something that rank 6 magician, magic warriors, or even warriors couldn't contend against. The ghost transformed beast was one of the most dangerous opponents for them at this stage. Buzz. The sword moved away from Samuel before hitting his arm. I know. We're a bit too arrogant lately, Samuel replied with a sigh. Since they never met with powerful rank 7 magic beast that they couldn't handle, the two of them didn't seem to have the same caution when they were exploring the crack. While exploring the crack, they would still avoid the places where powerful rank 7 magic beasts were located, but they forgot that there were also some rank 7 magic beasts that could hide their presence. This caused them to be unable to react when the rank 7 ghost transformed beast came. The sense of danger still allowed them to react in time, but if they had been more careful, the rank 7 ghost transformed beast wouldn't have been able to come so close to them. Buzz. The sword moved again. I know. I'll find more treasure to let you recover as fast as possible, Samuel said in soothing voice. As he was thinking about it, he turned his head to look in Ria's direction. The soul shield that Ria made should have been the highest-ranked soul-type defense formation that she could make. But the last attack from the ghost-transformed beast still managed to shatter it into pieces. At that moment, Samuel could clearly felt that the impact of the attack of a rank 7 magic beast was above what their body could tolerate. They had indeed reached rank 7 in that world. But right now they were still too weak. Exploring the crack was for the sake of recovering their strength at the fastest speed possible. But at the same time, they were exposing themselves to the danger that might come to them at any time. Powerful rank 7 magic beasts were around, and if they were not careful enough, they might bump onto them. It's dangerous. Yet at the same time, Samuel didn't want to back down. Buzz. The sword buzzed as if responding to Samuel. Ria? Samuel whispered the woman's name in his heart and turned to look at Ria, who was sitting peacefully to meditate. He knew that she had to recover her strength at the fastest speed possible and wanted to speak more, but in the end, all words were swallowed back to his throat. Her decision to give that shield to him nearly caused him heart attack. Because Samuel knew very well how selfish everyone is. When facing with the option whether to save one's life or save other people's lives, how many of them could decisively save others? Even Samuel himself couldn't do it. Only if the people whom he wanted to save were his family members that he might hesitate. Depending on the situation, he would prioritize them as he could protect himself. And in that decisive moment where they only have seconds to decide, Ria decisively gave the soul shield formation to him. Both of them understood the danger of soul attack better than anyone. They knew very well that any damage to their soul might shatter their livelong dream without any chance of recovery. So as much as possible, neither of them were willing to come close to that rank 7 ghost-transformed beast. And any kinds of means that could protect their should were extremely precious. So why? Why did she choose to give it to him from the first and might be the only chance? Samuel wanted to open his mouth and ask, yet at the same time he was worried that he was thinking too much. No, not yet. Samuel took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Buzz. The sword looked confused. It's fine. Samuel only smiled and then closed his eyes to meditate. Neither of the two were injured and they only needed to recover their mana. Their own treasure has some damage, but it was all superficial, and what they needed was to find some treasure to recover it. In this way, when the two of them had finished recovering their mana, they quickly set off and explored the crack again. Chapter 6:17. How did you die? They didn't talk about the rank 7 ghost-transformed beast. It was as if this matter had never happened and that their confusing actions during that time didn't have any other meaning. The only difference was probably the atmosphere was a bit ambiguous. Buzz? Only the sword looked confused by the action of these two people. Do you want to go back? Samuel asked after they had walked a distance away from the battle site against the rank 7 ghost-transformed beast.
No, Ria answered calmly.
She looked at Samuel. I can't stand still and wait for my strength to recover at normal pace. The best chance to get stronger is to stay in the crack and get more resources. Even if these resources might not be what they needed the most, but accumulating more magic beasts' corpses allowed Ria to create a lot of mana stones. In the battle against the rank 7 ghost-transformed beast, she had used 3 mana stones to recover her mana as soon as possible. She's not an alchemist, so she couldn't make any potion to recover her mana quickly. When facing the ghost-transformed beast, Ria had to use the best formation that she could make. The best way to recover her mana was to use these mana stones. And to make the mana stones, countless magic beasts' corpses of various ranks have to be used. Well, that battle did consume a lot of her resources. But as long as she managed to survive, these didn't seem to mean much. After all, her life is more valuable than these materials. I know, Samuel replied and smiled. In that case, let's continue. Ria watched as Samuel continued to walk and arched her eyebrows. I thought that you asked me to go back because you want to leave.
No.
Samuel shook his head. If I have to travel alone, then I naturally didn't dare to stay so deep within the crack. But since you're here, I dare to take the risk and I won't leave you alone. Ria blinked her eyes when she heard it. For a moment, she felt her heart skip a beat. Pursing her lips, Rhea chuckled. I believe other returnees have their own way to stay in the crack even if they couldn't go too deep. Rhea didn't believe the other returnee would not have any ambition. From the moment they decided to show their strength and negotiate with the higher-ups for their treatment, Rhea knew that all of them have their own impatience. After all, they used to be a powerful rank 7 magician or magic warrior in that world. After coming here, they resumed their own life. An ordinary life without those things. If the world was still the previous normal modern world, most of them would not make any splash and would stay hidden, because they all knew very well that even if they were to do anything, it would not change the world too much. The mana concentration was low and they could only be patient. In that situation, being able to reach rank 7 within a decade was already very good, and none of them were people who lacked patience. But the earthquake changed everything. From the moment these magic beasts appears, they were destined to be unable to live an ordinary life. They would not be so patient to wait for these resources to come to them, but would seek these resources on their own. The crack is the place where both danger and opportunity exist. Everyone was doing things on their own pace and grabbed resources as much as they could. Without taking too much risk, they could enter the crack and found some resources and fight stronger magic beasts. But they would not choose to enter too deep, for they could not risk everything. And when the magic beasts' tide suddenly came, all of them should realize that their time was limited. These magic beasts were also getting stronger and crawled their way out of the crack. Time waits for no one. If they didn't want to be washed away by the tide of time, they could only step forward and took the first step. Yes, there should be more sense of urgency, Samuel replied. And I believe you have it too, because he himself felt it. It was as if the world was urging them to move faster and faster. Rhea nodded and silently raised her hand to make protective rune circle. It's better to have this circle protecting me at all time. She didn't want to be attacked by a rank 7 ghost transformed beast again. Can that protective rune circle protect you from soul attack? Samuel asked. No. Rhea shook her head. The resistance is very small, and I don't have enough capability to make powerful soul shield merged into the protective rune circle yet. Samuel caught the key point. After I reach rank 7, I modified the protective rune circle with some additional runes that can protect me better, Rhea replied calmly. Soul shield was just one of them. Just one of them. For some reason, Samuel had the feeling that Rhea had become a mobile fortress. It would not be so easy for other people to attack Rhea when she had reached rank 7. You have asked me how I died. How did you die exactly in that world? Samuel asked curiously. In the past, Rhea had asked him how he died, and Samuel could only say that he was trapped by the magic beasts during the great magic beasts tide. Even with his strong power, he was not a match against a large number of magic beasts. He thought that Rhea might have an accident before the great magic beasts tide. But, with Rhea's self-saving methods, how did she die? I was surrounded by a few magicians and magic warriors who wants me to die, Rhea replied briefly. She was not killed by the magic beasts but by other humans. Chapter 6:18. Can you do it? Samuel arched his eyebrows. You don't seem to be the type that attract hatred. And not many people would be willing to offend a powerful Runemaster. Even if Rhea might be only a rank 7 Runemaster in that world. But Samuel knew this very clearly. That there would be no way Rhea could offend them so easily. It's a battle of life and death. Rhea shrugged. There can be only one person who survive, and there are hundreds of people there. There's a space lock that prevent me from using teleportation formation, and then there's a time treasure that prevent me from forming runes. If Rhea had to say, the situation at that time was really miserable. She was attacked from all sides, and those people were using various treasures that Rhea wanted to vomit blood. Space lock, time lock. Samuel heard these two types of treasures and fell into silence. If he was not wrong, even his family would not use that kind of treasure easily because it cost a lot to use even once. Moreover, did you face opponents higher than rank 7? Yeah, Rhea replied. Opponents of the same ranks will never be able to beat me. I think that it's the same for you. Samuel nodded weakly. facing against rank 8 and rank 9 magic beasts at large number. Samuel could only try his best to fight until the very end. He did everything possible to save his life, but when he saw the fortress destroyed, he knew that there was no chance for him to go back. Then he simply went all out and killed as many magic beasts as possible. But for the magicians to fight against themselves before the great magic beast's tide, they might face great punishment. Samuel thought about something else. Ah! Rhea blinked her eyes and then tilted her head. I don't think that they can bear any punishment when they're half dead. I basically self-destruct at the last moment to kill as many opponents as possible. Samuel was silent. The two of them looked at each other, and the look in their eyes were surprisingly similar. Because if they were truly forced to the dead end, what they would do was to fight until the very end, even if it meant their own destruction. Self-destruct should have also destroyed your soul, Samuel suddenly said. I know. That's why it's strange. Rhea chuckled. I believed that I have died in that world, and when I come back to this world, there are times when I thought I was dreaming of going back to that fateful moment when she should have died. But there wouldn't be anyone who would want to weave such a realistic dream for her, and Rhea knew this very well. So she didn't think that she was still dreaming right now. Right? Samuel chuckled. It was the same for him. He also thought that he had died. Many times he thought that it was that way in the beginning, until he accepted everything and then simply strived to become stronger and reach the rank he used to have. Let's go. There are more magic beasts in front of us, Rhea said as she sensed magic beasts coming. Okowo. Samuel smiled. For the next few months, they will stay in this crack and continued their battle. City I base. Arnold and Amelia told the others about what had happened when they gathered for dinner. After all, everyone had their own activity and it was impossible for them to stay together at all times. Nighttime was basically the best chance for them to gather and shared the information they had received during the day. Well, it was also time for them to relax. After all, they were tired after such a long time fighting, training, or others during the day. Your former enemy is coming? Reuben frowned when he heard Arnold's words. He knew what Arnold has been doing over the years. Unlike Samuel, who was busy with business, and Reuben, who was busy with his work as an architect and also Samuel's assistant, Arnold's profession was a bit dangerous. Stephen was also a businessman and didn't touch anything dangerous or strange. Sean looked at his sister. Sister, are you all right? What can happen to me? Amelia rolled her eyes. I'm already a rank 4 magic warrior, and those people can't do anything to me. It was nothing more than bullets, and the power of these bullets could only deal with rank 2 magic beasts at most. With her own physique, Amelia could easily deal with these people who tried to shoot her. It's a bit dangerous. Stephen rubbed his chin. Do you want me to try looking up for their information? As a businessman, Stephen was proficient in using various resources to get what he wanted. While the resources he could mobilize now was limited, he still has his own way to get information that he needed. Can you do it? Arnold asked with a frown. It's easy, but you might need to pay with some magic cores, Stephen replied. One of the most valuable resources in the current era was naturally magic cores. There were many people who could get magic cores, but not all of them were qualified to get it. These magic cores could also help many magicians and magic warriors to practice, so their price had increased again and again. Stephen still paid attention to this matter, and if it was possible, he would sell the excess that he had. After all, there were some elements that they didn't need. As for why he didn't use the official exchange, it was because he wanted to look for connection and also figure out the current market. Sure, Arnold replied with a grin. Then I'll give the information to you tomorrow. Tomorrow? Sophia looked at her brother in surprise. Have you built a connection here, brother? The others also looked over curiously. Chapter 619. It sounds beautiful. Just a little bit, Stephen replied and rubbed Sophia's head. The others heard that and arched their eyebrows. They were sure that Samuel and Stephen were both quite similar with each other. I can ask the officials too if you want to, but I don't think they pay that much attention to the mercenaries, Reuben added. Did you already have official position? Amelia asked with difficulties. Huh? No, but I'm close to the leader in City I base. Reuben smiled brightly. After all, if Samuel wants to start a business in the future, he will need to have connection and good communication. The others. This was the first time they truly felt the power of these people who used to reign the business world. Even though the world had changed, they still had their own way to make sure that they would not be lagging behind. But those officials are still quite greedy, Reuben complained. Even though the situation is poor, but some of them are only thinking about filling their pocket with wine and money. It's annoying. Reuben, can you please not use that tone? Stephen heard Reuben's high-pitched tone and felt that his heart couldn't take it. While he knew that it was hard for Reuben to be serious and often played around, but there was truly no need to imitate that strange and odd voice. Reuben arched his eyebrows. But it sounds beautiful. No, it's not. Ha ha ha. The farce ended with Reuben being punched by Arnold and had to stay quiet. The man was busy painting circles on the end of the room while the others just laughed at their antics. Arnold saw Amelia's eyes lit up, and she probably had some ideas about how to annoy Samuel again in the future. Thinking about this, Arnold rubbed his forehead. These people really couldn't be serious for long. Anyway, what can you ask from them? Arnold finally asked Reuben, who quickly returned to his seat and stopped his circle drawing. I can ask for the entry log to see their activities within a certain range. Reuben thought for a moment and then said, the purchase log might not be that useful. From what I know, mercenaries didn't really like to buy things from the official stores. Arnold nodded in agreement when he heard this. We usually buy things from the black market, so it's indeed not very useful. Your connection is really wide, Reuben. Stephen looked at Reuben in surprise. While he himself had already talked with some people in the market and had some influence, what he did was definitely far less than what Reuben did. Nah, if it's Samuel, he can easily control the entire base if he wants to. Reuben shook his head and said, I'm just doing some small dealings under the table. Arnold and Stephen nodded. The other three people. This is the first time I realized that the people around my brother are really outrageous, Sean muttered in a low voice. He was the youngest in the group, and his age gap with his brother was more than 8 years. So when these people gathered around, Sean didn't usually participate in their discussion and often stayed far away. After all, he couldn't understand what they were talking about. This made Sean not very close to the people around Samuel. They're all amazing in their own field, Amelia said with a shrug. And I always feel that Brother Arnold is the best. Sean, you love brain. While Sean was feeling exasperated, Sophia laughed at these two people's conversation. She herself knew what her brother was doing to a certain degree. After all, the Carson family was a big and complicated family where there were not much affection exist among the younger generations. Everyone took what they needed, and their relationship was more of a cooperation rather than family. In the Carson family, Sophia knew that her talent was not very good, so she tried her best to stay low-key. By not stepping on other people's thunder, she could live a good life. However, Stephen was completely different from her. He had great talent and learned many things very quickly. It was also because of this that old Master Carson appreciated Stephen and allowed her brother to be involved in business ever since he was young. Due to this, old Master Carson also brought Stephen to various parties and introduced him to the other talented younger generation. One of them was Samuel. Sophia didn't know what Stephen thought about their grandfather, but at the very least, he was grateful for old Master Carson that allowed him to meet Samuel and befriend the other party. Because both of them have sisters of similar age, Sophia and Amelia also ended up meeting each other and grew closer. They went to the same school and played together from time to time. Since both of them were determined to be the second-generation young misses, the two of them often caused troubles and pranks. It was their older brothers who would wipe up their messes. Of course, punishments would definitely await them. But the greatest difference between Sophia and Amelia lies in the difference of their family background and treatment. This allowed Sophia to understand more or less about her brother's capabilities, and was not surprised by his action that might be walking on the gray road more than the upright one. After all, some businessmen often had shady dealings in secret. Anyway, I'll be counting on you, Arnold finally said after the three people had determined the course of things that they wanted to do. Don't worry, Stephen chuckled. As long as you paid enough, the job can be done, Reuben added. Arnold arched his eyebrows. You sound like you would work for anyone, Reuben. Are you thinking of jumping ships now? No way. No one can give me better treatment than Samuel and Rhea. Reuben denied without hesitation. What a joke, with such big thighs behind him. How could he be willing to jump ship? Chapter 620. Dangerous. The six of them continued to laugh and have fun. To be honest, they were not that worried about Arnold's enemy. Unless he had also become a magic warrior rank 4, then they might have to face a lot of troubles. But even in the military, there were not many people who had reached rank 4. The amount of resources that they needed to invest in order to reach that rank was enormous. It was not something that a single person could obtain in such a short period of time. After enough talking and laughing, they all went their separate ways to rest. The next day, Reuben and Stephen handed over the information through their phones to Arnold. So Arnold, who was training, received information in the afternoon. They're very efficient. Amelia was stunned when Arnold said that both of them had sent him the necessary information. Of course, Arnold chuckled. Some businesses are time-sensitive. If they can't grasp the chance at the right time, the profit they can obtain will be reduced. For these businessmen who valued money more than their lives, it's unacceptable. Amelia? No, I don't think that my brother and his friends are people who value money more than their lives. From what she had seen, they were simply using money as a means to obtain their goal. After all, for the business to keep going, the money had to continue flowing from one side to others. There were also employees that he had to pay and so on. Though, the profit that he accumulated over the years would be more than enough to make him live comfortably. That was if the world hadn't changed like this. I know, Arnold chuckled. And I don't really talk about them specifically because I know that they will not be blinded by profit. The most important thing is to use the resources you have in hand to live the life you want. Amelia nodded blankly. She didn't quite understand what Arnold meant. Besides, it didn't seem to be that important for her. After all, Amelia didn't really manage her money herself, and most of it was handled by her parents. She only has a portion of money and resources that she used to train herself. Can I see the information now? Amelia asked curiously. Yes, it's just detailing their activity, Arnold replied and handed over his phone to Amelia. Ur has been staying in City I base in the past 4 days and busy selling various resources he managed to obtain through hunting and so on. Not everyone wanted to live in the base, and people like him who used to be a mercenary was even less likely willing to stay in one place. Because all of them knew very well that they would be restricted by the rules and laws. Mercenaries were used to live freely. They didn't want to be controlled by others and would rather take things into their own hands. Back then, mercenaries were basically people in the gray area. Their existences were acknowledged by the officials, and as long as they didn't commit crimes, they were basically let off. Many of them could even be called bounty hunters. After all, there were also bounties released by the officials in the dark web. If they could finish the task, they could receive a remuneration and so on. They're outside right now, Amelia commented when she saw the last line of the information. Yes, and unless I keep on paying attention to them, it'll be hard to track them down, Arnold replied. He used to be a mercenary himself, so he knew that it wouldn't be so easy for others to track their whereabouts when they didn't want to be found. After all, many mercenaries have blood in their hands and they didn't want to be controlled by others. In this chaotic world, it was simply the best place for them. Do you plan to come to them? Amelia's expression changed. Yes, Arnold nodded. But it would be dangerous? I know, Arnold replied calmly. Since they can carry sniper rifles around and have enough ammunition, they should have made some dealings with some people or even the officials. Even if I have Samuel as my backing, they can still make trouble for me. Some mercenaries would cooperate with the officials, and even Arnold did the same back then. At least, before he chose to retire from his position and took a long break to stay with his friends. Arnold has never been a coward. So I plan to take risk and trap them in turn. Besides, some of their members have died in my hands, and Ur would not be willing to let me off easily, Arnold said calmly. From the moment he took them out, He had been prepared that they wouldn't be able to live peacefully with each other. Facing people who killed their men. How could one calm down? At least Arnold couldn't do something like that. And he didn't think that Ur could do it either. Then I'll follow you, Amelia said without hesitation. Arnold frowned. That will be inappropriate. My life might be in danger and… No matter what, I'll follow you. When fighting against the magic beasts, when did our lives not be in danger? Amelia retorted and crossed her arms. I don't want to see you go forward on your own again. Hearing Amelia's words, Arnold's hands trembled for a moment. He looked at the young woman in front of him and wanted to persuade her to stay back. Yet at the same time, he had the feeling that it would be impossible. In the end, Arnold sighed. All right, but you should stay close to me, and if the situation turns to the worst, you have to go. I know. Amelia pursed her lips. As for leaving when the situation turned for the worst? No way. She didn't want to run away on her own. Arnold looked at Amelia's expression and sighed in his heart.